How's it going, guys? We are back with another awesome episode. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally I react to stuff to do with Europe, usually the Netherlands, sometimes Australia. Obviously that's not part of Europe, but you know what I'm saying. This time we're going to be reacting to why America sucks at everything. So I think we all have our own ideas of areas in which the United States could be doing better. But anyways, this is a channel called The Gravel Institute. But yeah, the video is called David Cross, Why America Sucks at Everything. So we're going to go ahead and check this out and find out what his viewpoint is on the subject. It's going to be good. I already know. Chilly in here. All right. What is this? This was recorded off of a TV. American continues.
America is the greatest country on earth, the strongest, the richest, the most powerful country on earth. As an American, I'm sure you've heard that roughly 135 times a year. 235 if you go to public school.
Yeah, that is.
335 if you go to a Christian academy.
That is definitely something that they kind of like, the ideology that they give you, growing up in this country for sure. I thought this for the longest time until I started realizing like that's just not really how the world is, so that's why I'm trying to do this learning journey so I can find out what's really going on, because they lied to me.
We're told that Americans have the best lives of any people in the world. That we have low taxes, small government, and the highest living standards on earth. And most inaccurately, that we're the freest.
Yeah, that's what they say,
it is
but
partly
it's
true.
not.
America is the richest country, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. It's really hard to comprehend just how rich we are. We have 18 million people who are millionaires.
Right, but the country might be rich, but the average person like myself, not so much.
American households own about $100 trillion in wealth, an almost unthinkable amount of money. Okay, so America is the richest country ever. But there's a curious paradox. Most Americans actually have a much worse standard of living than people who live in poorer countries like Germany or Finland or Britain. But how can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them. So of course our services are worse, and thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries.
And another reason why I'm trying to learn about the world, because one of these days I'm going to get out of America and I'm going to go move to Europe. That's my goal. It's probably not going to be anytime soon. I know people ask me all the time when you're going to go to the Netherlands, because that's probably where I'll end up moving, is Netherlands, possibly Germany, but I think Netherlands is just, I like the culture. I vibe with it, right? But it's not going to be anytime soon. Just a goal I have, but I'm not rich at all by any means. So it'll be a while before I would be able to do that. But it's a goal of mine for sure within the next maybe 10 years to just live there. That'd be great. 10, 15 years.
Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon dog to the other cartoon dog.
Yeah, right.
And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add federal, state, local, and sales taxes and include other costs and services that our taxes don't cover but other countries' taxes do, like our uniquely high health insurance premiums, you'll find that Americans actually give away more of their wages than most of the developed world.
Yeah, and this is something I've actually recently started learning about, actually. So yeah, this is going to be a good one, guys. So hit like, hit subscribe if you are enjoying this as well. That is completely free and it will not break your bank.
For example, in Canada, for a married worker with 2 kids, all of the previously mentioned costs combined, from taxes to health insurance premiums, make up only 11% of the average wage. In the UK, it's just about 26%. Meanwhile, once you tack on the cost of our outlandish health insurance premiums, you're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more than France, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. In real reality,
I don't even have insurance, guys. I can't afford it, to be honest with you. It sucks. It's the reality of things, though. You know what I mean?
The Americans keep much less of what we own than in other countries. In other countries, their government takes a bit more tax, but then gives that money back to their citizens in the form of healthcare or job support, or a general safety net for all vulnerable citizens, no matter how dusky they are. So what do Americans get for the money we pay in? Well, sure, we get a crumbling infrastructure, shameful homelessness, and millions of hungry, neglected children, but we also get some of the worst services in the developed world. Again, our healthcare.
Yay. Good job, America.
American healthcare is simultaneously the most expensive, the least efficient, and the least effective healthcare system in the developed world.
Jeez.
Hey.
Yeah, I knew it was bad, but damn. Come on. Wow. I mean, I knew we sucked. I knew America sucks at a lot of stuff, but like, just laying it out there like that. Wow. I mean, that's. If only I was rich, guys. If only I was rich. You know what I mean?
Hey, the devil's trifecta. And in exchange for this extremely expensive, inefficient healthcare system, what do we get? Well, we get some of the worst health outcomes in the developed world. We have fewer hospital beds per capita than people in Turkey or Brunei.
Really?
Americans have a lower life expectancy than people in Lebanon or Cuba. And in the Mississippi Delta and much of Appalachia, life expectancy is lower than in Bangladesh.
My family on my mom's side actually comes from the Appalachia region. They're in the bottom left-hand side of West Virginia. I live in northern Indiana. You know what I mean? I was born here, but yeah. That is very interesting. And I believe it too. I mean, there's some poor areas down there. Beautiful countryside, but very, very, very poor in the Appalachia region for sure. They had it rough. They still do have it rough.
In fact, in 2017, the United Nations sent a commissioner to West Virginia to document what he saw, and he described, quote, third world conditions of absolute poverty.
Yeah, and that's where my mom's family's from. My mom was born here in Indiana. They moved back down there, back and forth, you know, when she was a child growing up. But my grandma and all that for sure was born in West Virginia. And then my grandpa on my mom's side was born in Virginia, same area, just a mile or two over the state line. But yeah, third world country. We used to always joke about it being like going to a whole different country when you go to West Virginia. That's crazy that we're not the only one that's joked about it. There's somebody else saying right here, third world conditions of absolute poverty. This is an eye opener to me. This is good. Wow. Like I can really relate to that because my family came from that area. Like that's crazy.
Unquote. We even have a higher infant mortality rate than people in Russia and Serbia. In every single metric, America does worse across the board.
Wow.
So why is healthcare so expensive? Because it's so complicated. You have to look for in-network physicians, schedule an established care appointment, beg for coverage from your insurance company that couldn't care less about you, and that's if you're lucky enough to have good insurance. Compare that to Britain and all of those other evil, socialist-like countries where it's simple. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. That's it.
Man, I wish.
Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it.
I wish it was like that.
And here's the best part. Even though Britain offers healthcare for free, their system is actually a lot cheaper to run than ours. Per capita healthcare spending in the US is almost 3 times what it is in Britain, and almost 5 times what Canadians spend. In fact, Americans spend the most per person of any country in the world for healthcare. But the free...
In the world? Holy shit, guys. I did not realize that. I knew it was bad, but this bad? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Free market is more efficient, you screech. But in America, private systems often aren't efficient at all. Private drug companies have an incentive to charge whatever they can get away with for pharmaceuticals.
Yeah,
In Canada, a carton of insulin costs about $20. In the US, it costs $300. And with private insurance companies footing the bill, hospitals have an incentive to get as much money out of patients as possible too. In 2015, the average cost of an MRI scan in the US was $1,119, but it was only $215 in Australia. Spain, about $181.
Speaking of hospital bills, yeah, because I don't have insurance, I probably owe close to $10,000 in hospital bills, to be honest with you. It's just a messed up system we're in. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, okay, die or live the rest of your life in debt. It's going to be hard to get out of debt in this economy, in this country, with very little to no opportunity in my situation. So, you know, yay. Now do you guys see why I'm trying so hard to learn about the world? Because I'm starting to realize how it really fucking is. Sorry for the language, but man.
And our healthcare system is so inefficient that we spend over a third of our cost on administration. The United States spends significantly more on administration than we spend on preventative or long-term healthcare. That's just not smart. Okay,
No,
we
it's
get it.
not.
We all know that American healthcare is so much more expensive, you say, but that's the cost of having the freest freedom in God's favorite country.
We ain't free.
Well, guess what? Medical procedures that are totally free in Britain, like giving birth, cost tens of thousands of dollars in the United States.
Yeah. They charge you to give birth here. That's real.
I mean, you want to talk about the cost of freedom. Sadly, because of these high costs, Americans often avoid going to the doctor, something almost half the population say they do. With shoddy or non-existent health insurance, Americans will wait until their conditions force them into the emergency room where treatment is far more expensive.
Yeah.
Again, not a smart system.
No, it's
Quite
not,
often-
because people end up putting off their illnesses and dying, and then you lose loved ones, and it's fucking sad.
And they end up putting off medical visits and dying. Susan Finley, a 53-year-old Walmart employee in Colorado, got pneumonia and took one day off of work beyond what Walmart's policy allows. So of course, Walmart's gonna Walmart, which they did by firing her. Without her job, she lost her nominal health
Sad,
care
guys, it
coverage,
really
she
is.
struggled to find new work, and after avoiding a visit to the doctor for flu-like symptoms, she was found dead in her apartment. When Americans do manage to get treated, they frequently can't afford it. Simple, life-saving treatments can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't have really good insurance, they're forced to take on medical debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe medical debt, often into the tens of thousands of dollars.
This guy.
Meanwhile, in a country like Britain or Norway, medical debt is almost unheard of. But hey, that's why GoFundMe is such a critical component of American healthcare. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. I'll repeat that.
Really?
1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. America is such a strong, powerful, rich, and great country that its citizens have to beg strangers on the internet for money so they can get life-saving treatments that are free
crazy.
in the rest of the developed world. But hey, that's just healthcare. Americans get terrible deals wherever you look. Let's take work, for example. Americans work longer hours than people in any other rich country in the world, and that's not because they enjoy sleep deprivation and not seeing their families for days at a time. It's because they don't want to starve.
Yeah, it's sad. That it really is. So I'm trying to do YouTube full time because I want to spend time with my family. I don't want to be a slave to this system and be working my life away. I want to have time, just what everybody wants. I want to have time to spend with my family. I mean, and yeah.
Or freeze, or die. See, America has the least generous job support programs, the least generous family benefits, and the least generous unemployment benefits of any wealthy
We're gonna
country.
smoke a cigarette.
It's one of the only countries on Earth that doesn't guarantee paid time off for vacations. It doesn't even help provide paid time off for parents who just had a child.
Yeah.
And it's not coincidental that we're also one of the most hostile countries to workers' rights. America has one of the lowest unionization rates in the entire world. Maybe this deprivation Our refusal to give people the means to lead a good, dignified life commensurate with how rich our country is can explain a bit of what we've seen in the United States over the last few decades.
Yeah, that was a sign that said Skid Row. If you guys are not familiar with Skid Row, it's an area of, I believe, Los Angeles, and it's just overrun with homelessness. I mean, that's what this is showing right here, tents, and it's like a tent city, but like in an actual city. It's like on a big, like one stretch of street in Los Angeles. It might be a few blocks long or something, and it's just nothing but homeless people, and they call it Skid Row. Yeah.
Fraying communities, rising rates of depression and suicide, huge numbers of death from drug overdoses. These so-called deaths of despair, suicide, drug overdoses, alcoholic liver disease, they're one big reason why American life expectancy has actually started to decline over the last few years.
Cigarettes ain't helping, I'm sure.
And with such poor conditions, it's not a surprise that poverty is so rampant in the United States.
Yeah.
America devotes a smaller percentage of spending on social welfare than any other industrialized economy because...
A smaller percentage, too? It's like, come on. We're supposed to be the richest country, and they don't give the people nothing. You know what I mean? They waste it on stupid shit, or it all goes in their pockets or to the rich people.
Say it with me. Socialism is evil. It's evil. Go to Denmark and try telling those happy, healthy families enjoying their paid vacation that their system of government is evil. Guess what? I guarantee they'll know you're an American. But I digress. America also has the highest rate of child poverty of any developed country, and the highest percentage of workers earning significantly less than the national median income.
I mean, we're right on the verge of, like, how are we even being considered a developed country at this point at all? I mean, the government takes all the money, they keep it, they hoard it all, the people get nothing, and we're like on the lowest end of out of all the developed nations. Like, we're on the bottom. So like we're like right above like whatever would be, you know what I mean? Just like these third world, like legit third world countries. Like we're just barely above that. Like that's crazy to me. Wow. I mean, I knew it was bad, but damn.
That seems pretty evil to me.
Yeah.
Especially since such a tiny fraction take as much of your money from themselves and their families as you will let them. All the while, both parties smile and shake hands. Across every single metric, no people accept a worse deal than Americans today. High taxes, high cost of living for next to nothing in return from the government. The most expensive healthcare system for the worst health outcomes. More money taken from workers for the highest rate of child poverty. We are the richest country in the history of the world, but we have fewer miles of high-speed rail than Uzbekistan.
I'm pretty sure Norway has a pretty strong economy, though. I thought Norway's economy, I mean, I guess maybe we're richer just because we're bigger and there's more, you know, but it's not us, like the people, it's the government for sure and the elites. But I think Norway, just across the board, I think they have like the strongest like actual economy in general. The people might actually have more money as a whole, like just the commoner people, not like, you know, the government or the rich people. But
we are the greatest country in the world, yet we have the most people in prison of any country and the highest incarceration rate as well. And a higher rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better,
we got a higher police killing murder rate than that's
incarceration rate as well, and a higher rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families, American law is designed and crafted to protect a class of parasitical middleman industries. Instead of using a proportionally tiny piece of the massive amount of the wealth in this country to make people's lives healthier and happier, most of our elected leaders are, and have been for generations, engaged in a massive project of looting, gently and lovingly guiding as much money as possible from working people into the pockets of the well-connected and the ultra-rich. Think about that as we start hearing about the inevitable rise in homelessness, poverty, starvation, and sickness that will occur during these coming months and years in the greatest, strongest, richest, most powerful country on the face of the earth. I'm David Cross for the Gravel Institute.
This was good. That was good, guys. So, yeah, the links to the original video will be in the description section down below as always. Wow. See what these comments are about. As a wise man once said, the American system. Hold on. Zooming in for you guys. Is working exactly as intended, he says. I'm in Canada. Our healthcare isn't free. I recently had major orthopedic surgery. I had to pay $12 for parking. Well, I'd rather pay those parking bills. Just saying. Oh, Norwegian right here. I remember moving to the U.S. about 18 years ago from Norway. I only stayed a bit over a year. Back then, I kind of hated social democracy. In my mind, it was this inefficient bureaucratic mess. In my mind, a super capitalist America would be this streamlined efficiency. Oh God, was I wrong? Yeah, you were, guy. I had to come to America to learn that corporations can easily have far more complex and inefficient bureaucracy than government. I think my problem was that I had compared government function to relatively small companies. But when you get things like healthcare, which is large and complex, you will notice that corporations are not any better than government. Quite the contrary, they are much worse. They turn things into a bureaucratic hellhole. I will actually remark that American doctors are very well educated and skilled. However, their incentives are all misaligned. I notice how they seem to really focus on appearing like a good service organization that satisfy the customer rather than giving good health advice and treatment. What stood out for me back then was the insane use of painkillers in the U.S. Yes, it's led to an issue. I thought to myself, this is going to be very bad in the future. You cannot create a culture of this much consumption of painkillers. It turned out I was right. Yeah. A few years later, America went through their opioid pandemic. I think this is actually a great illustration of how the profit motive entirely ruins American healthcare. This is very true. He says, but I accept this is really hard to change in the U.S. because the belief in corporations and capitalism runs so deep in the U.S. and the skepticism towards government runs even deeper. Ironically, I think American government is bad because of corporations. Corporations are buying politicians and making them push policies going against public interest. Corporations often write the regulations the U.S. government uses. Corporations often do tasks the government could likely have done better themselves. Look at NASA. What is the main reason it is bleeding money? Is it because corporations like Boeing and United Launch Alliance is using it as an endless supply of cash? Yes. So this guy says, I hate how, as an American, if I criticize this system, I'll be called a communist or an anti-American, and that is so true. It is hard to express your true beliefs about the broken system here in America to other Americans, especially the ones that are diehard patriots. They will instantly think that you are a communist or anti-American and all this, and you're just evil and whatever. But yeah, so this was really, really, really good. Not gonna lie, like this was a super good video. It really opened up my eyes quite a bit. I knew there was an issue for sure, but I didn't knew it was this deep, guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, so anyways, if you enjoy this video, please hit like, hit subscribe. It just helps my channel grow. I am trying to do this full time and trying to get out of the poverty that we just saw in the video. To be honest with you, I'm trying to have the free time with my family. So, liking the video is free, subscribing's free. It just helps it reach a broader audience of viewers like yourself. And, I do appreciate it for sure. So links to the original videos in the description section down below. And you guys have a super fun, awesome day, and I will catch you in the next video. All right, take care.